Hello, it's me. Sorry, I'm a little bit late. If my voice sounds awful and scratchy, it's because it is. Woohoo! Yahoo! Wahoo! Hi! Hello! Hello! Hi! It's me. Yeah, I got off stream early so I could go and record. I did the recording, and then it turns out I recorded the wrong thing, so I had to do it again. I had to turn the light on. I had to do it again. That's why it's a little bit late. And yeah, I need to turn the light on because it's dark as fuck. Yahoo! Alright. Sweet. Oh, Mr. President for 5. Thank you so much. It says, if this is going to be another rampage on your sanity, do yourself a favor and put some rum in your tea. Oh my god, I don't have any rum for my tea, but I will, I have some gin. I'm not putting gin in tea. I don't have anything to go in tea. You know what? Tell you what, next time when I remember, I will get something that will work for that. Nope, that's backwards. We are over 20% of the way to our goal. Hell yeah. For anybody who doesn't know what the goal is for costumes. So if you want to see me wearing a costume on Dumbfuck Friday, that is where you will see that. That is what that goes into. Thank God, luckily for me, at the very least, these fucking guys... These two fucking assholes are going to do most of the talking for me. Or at least they're going to do some of the talking for me, so I don't have to... Oh, wait, that's... Shit. Hold on, I gotta fix that. The chat is showing as my screen grab right now. Hold on. Let me fix that real quick. I didn't realize that. Hold on. Please hold. There we go. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Yeah, these two fucking losers are gonna do my work for me. Gin and tea? Yeah, no, that sounds terrible. That sounds like a terrible idea. I don't know why anybody would do that. Alright, let's take a... I'll put them back just a little bit. They're starting... Oh, no, they're in the middle of something. Fuck. That's okay. Let's just start them at the beginning of a new thing, because Gavin Newsom is a little bit less of my problem than Ian Bremmer is, because Gavin Newsom is clearly not a journalist. Besides the extant problem of, like, just the fact that this exists because of Gavin Newsom, and he's the one leading the conversation with his fucking shit-ass questions. But, like, I'm having more of a problem with Ian than I am with Gavin. Gavin is trying to do something. How successful he is at it, I'm not sure, but at least he is, in fact, trying. I'll give him that. Excuse me while I fix chat here a little bit as well. A little more. There we go. Alright. Okay, are you guys ready? I don't care if you're ready. Let's go.
A strong Canada, a strong Japan, a strong South Korea. That's the message that you want, that the Americans need friends, but they need capable friends. That's a message that allows, and yeah, there's got to be some tough love, that if you don't do these things, that we're not going to give you what we did before, but it's not.
You guys, chat, do you guys think that what Donald Trump is doing to allied nations is tough love? Because, yeah, I don't fucking think so, dipshit.
Not we want to destroy the EU. It's not that we want the anti-establishment populists who don't care about your strength to win in these individual countries just because those people happen to like me and we're simpatico on the global stage. But
really? Are you sure? Are you sure that's not what it is? I think that might be what it is. Let me quickly show you this picture of Marco Rubio. I think that's exactly what it is. It's exactly that you want these anti-establishment groups. Elon Musk went over, not even Elon Musk, I think Pam Bondi as well, or Kristi Noem, I can't remember which one, whichever one of them it was, as well as JD Vance has been going to other countries and encouraging things like the ADF in Germany. So no, that's exactly what he's doing. This is yeah, Lord Magicus is getting to exactly what I'm talking about. He's just saying, well, we don't want to hit you, but what we're doing is tough love and it's forcing us to hit you. Like, how about don't? What if you didn't, though? What if we leave you? Then what? And, like, I mean, that's what Canada's doing, right? It's too much sane washing. Yeah, they're pretending that Donald Trump isn't a petty baby man, and he absolutely is a petty baby man.
But that's a long-term perspective. Where short-term, Trump is like, of course I want, sort of the AFD. Of course I want,
Sort of. Oh, so don't listen to the literal things that he says he wants. Of course I want to be a dictator for a day. Don't listen to the things he says he wants. Pretend he didn't say any of those things that he says, and he's definitely not doing the things that he's doing. We have to think about the long term, and the long term is you're not going to have any friends. You're not going to have any allies, and you're going to be isolationist. That's what's going to happen. That's what is happening. Good God.
Sort of reform in the UK. And these guys would completely undermine the product.
I saw that Gavin Newsom was shaking his head there. I don't know if that means that Gavin Newsom can't believe what he's fucking hearing, or if Gavin Newsom is disagreeing, because he's not saying anything, but he's not really there to argue. He's kind of just there to facilitate this guy. And I'm just not sure why he's facilitating this guy. I don't know what the benefit is for him to facilitate this fucking guy.
Activity of their own countries. So that's where I think there's real misalignment. It's not that the Americans don't understand the symptoms of what's ailing everyone geopolitically, but the cure that they're offering is going to make the patient worse.
I think Donald Trump is a symptom of a larger systemic problem in the United States. One of those problems being its investment in education and like its over bloated military budget and a lot of propaganda. Ian, it sounds like you don't get what the problem is in the world. Yeah, it sounds like it.
You wrote a book, Us Versus Them, talked about this notion of, you framed globalization in I think a very honest and reflective way, winners and losers, et cetera. Are we experiencing, this is a period of deglobalization? How would you describe this moment?
I would say this is a period.
Really? Do we really think that explaining geopolitical motives and positioning for countries as a winning and losing situation? I mean, like, maybe you could make that analogy and maybe you could have some, like, winners or losers based on, like, what the criteria is, but I feel like you're going to have a really, really hard time doing that without explaining and understanding some very, like, lengthy, very long, very complicated deals over long periods of time, like, very long periods of time. So things like Guatemala. Like, is Guatemala winning or losing? And, like, did Guatemala win or lose when it came to having United States, the CIA fucking overthrow their fucking government? Like, is Iran winning or losing? Is Palestine winning or losing? Like, it seems like again, having a book called Us Versus Them and it not being a critique of how bad an us versus them scenario is and a bad and narrow way to look at things. Why do I feel like I'm gonna, if I ever end up reading any of these man's books, I'm gonna light them on fire? I don't advocate for book burning, but I feel like I'm allowed to choose to burn books that I bought if I want to. They're mine.
Where the United States is no longer driving globalization. There are still processes of globalization that are occurring.
That's already happened. It's too late, my guy. I will remind everybody that this video did come out in November of 2025, and it is currently 2026, but that has already happened. Almost as soon as Donald Trump got his second term, America's position as the leader or its position as the driving force of globalization ended. It's Jover, my guy. It's Jover.
I mean, when I think about globalization, I think about people and goods and services and capital and ideas moving across borders faster and faster all over the world. There are certainly lots of that is happening more and more.
Right.
Technology facilitates it. But the United States is no longer driving it. In many ways, the U.S. is assertively moving away from it. And there is a level of...
I agree with both of those conclusions.
...of decoupling happening directly between the United States and China and forcing other countries to make uncomfortable decisions. So yeah,
Yeah, I don't know. I know that Canada has been like Canada and America have been, and the United States have been incredibly fucking twined, like incredibly intertwined, both on like from a cultural standpoint, from a economic standpoint, from like a political global positioning standpoint, from a militarized standpoint. Canada and the United States have been very, very directly intertwined and like tangled up together for a very long time, entangled, if you will. And ever since Trump's first term, ever since even before Trump's first term, during Obama's administration, Canada has been slowly unraveling itself from the United States' tendrils, if you will. Has been one of the major, I'd say, wins, or one of the major positive things that Justin Trudeau has been worked on his entire time in office.
I don't think we're in an environment where globalization is, sort of being driven by the economists and the political scientists who have anything to say about it. The politics are throwing sand in the gears, and it acts as a tax on the productivity. But
it's weird. That's kind of a weird phrase. The politics are throwing sand in the gears. When you say, but that Trump is purposefully attacking other countries' economies to weaken them on purpose. Like, he said that that's what he's doing. But of course, Ian's like, no, don't listen to the things he said, and don't look at the things he's doing. Think about it in the long term of what could happen if we weren't doing any of these things.
We can't just think of this in terms of the economic shift. We also have to recognize that so much of this is that the U.S. political system, while the U.S. economy has been doing so well, and the U.S. dollar has been doing so well.
Has the U.S. economy been doing well? Has the U.S. dollar been doing well? I don't think that's true. I'm gonna citation needed you, my guy. I think you're full of shit. Pretty sure those things aren't doing well, and we're known to not be. In fact, actually, earlier in this conversation, you talked about a major economic hit that the United States has taken in tourism. So you know that it's not doing well, and unless you're talking about a longer time frame than just 2025, in which case I still think. This is just my opinion. I don't know this for sure, and I'm not a professional, so, take this with a grain of salt. But in my opinion, the last chance the United States had to turn itself around was the Biden economy. And they didn't take that opportunity with the Biden economy. So because they didn't take the opportunity with the Biden economy, they have nowhere to go but down for a little while. And good luck, I guess. I don't know what to tell you. It sucks. It is what it is. Megan Fox's giant boob says, "But Chesh, if we weren't global robber barons, who would rob poor defenseless developing nations? I don't know, Russia? The world needs a common enemy. I will be that enemy to bring the world. I'm not the United States isn't the hero the world deserves. It's the hero the world needs." Shut up, Batman. Bonk. Of course the economy is doing well. The Dow is over 50K. Shut up.
This political system is not. And I think this is the fundamental issue, that when I started my work on my PhD back in 1989, wall came down. And I think part of the reason I wanted to do
he's referring to the Berlin Wall, I believe, for anybody who's not sure. I'm pretty sure he's talking about the Berlin Wall.
1989.
We had a hockey player in Canada. He played on the Toronto Maple Leafs for a few years, and his name was Bulin. So called him, and he was such a good goalie that everybody called him the Bulin Wall. It was fucking great. Oh man, I should go back to watching hockey. I used to really like watching hockey. I should do that. Do you guys want to watch hockey with me? That'd be a Saturday thing. Because it's Saturday night in Canada. You know the tune. You guys want to watch hockey with me? Hockey night in Canada. I'm going to start a poll. Do you want to watch hockey with me? You want to talk to me with me? Yes, no. Yes, no. Let me know. Tell me.
Wall came down. And I think part of the reason I wanted to do what I do is because this was a time of great pride to be an American. Because the wall coming down, I mean, you had all these captive nations, East Bloc, Soviet Union.
I like this idealized United States where it's like, yeah, it was a great time for America because this wall in Berlin was coming down, like on the other side of the planet that we're definitely taking credit for. I mean, it's not that the United States had no influence. That's not what I mean to say at all. I just think it's funny about the way Americans describe, like, people from the United States describe these scenarios is just vastly different from the way, like, I think anybody else talks about them. It's so bizarre. It's like, it's odd to me that the United States, people in the United States have this tendency to put, like, smack themselves into the middle of something, whatever that thing is.
We're looking at our system and saying, damn, I wish my country worked like that. I wish I had some of that liberty, some of that rule of law. And in 35 years, people still want access to the US market and our technologies and our companies, best in the world. But nobody around the world looks at the US political system and says, I wish my political system ran like that.
That's true. I don't know how long that other half is going to go, though. I don't know. Like, there's already people who are educated. Like, there's a mass exodus of intellectuals and educators leaving the United States. And Canada, France, and China are opting to offer as much as possible to give to educators and people that are running away and leaving the United States. So as much as you might be able to lean on your technological advances from 50 years ago, I don't know how much longer that is going to last, like, because, like, how do we really have any major innovations coming out of the United States? I mean, you might have fucking some space innovation if you stopped giving all of the tax money to Elon Musk and gave it to NASA instead. NASA is a fantastic setup, but the United States isn't the only place that can do a NASA, right? And they aren't the only place that do that. So, like, the universities in other countries are taking that over, and so because that's being taken over, how much longer do you think any of that's gonna really last? Because even if Donald Trump goes away, the policies he's enacting are still going to be there, and the political structure that that everybody is agreeing with is a problem that nobody really wants isn't going to enable anybody to move back, even if they, like, what are you going to give to convince all of these nations that you've pissed off to go back to working with America?
In 35 years. And I think that it is very hard to overestimate the impact of that damage on relations around the world long term, because you're no longer driving what people want to be. You're no longer acting.
And that's this fundamental notion. I mean, the historic project of our founding fathers you're referencing, this notion of popular sovereignty broadly, and we'll maybe reserve that popular sovereignty aside, but this notion of the rule of law, I'll get to the rule of dawn, which you coined, which I've cribbed, this notion of co-equal branches of government. What aspects of our political system do you fear are most being, are looked at negatively now in that respect?
They're fundamental on the global stage. You talk about commitment.
Does Canada have room for manual laborers? Yes. We are building a shitload of shit quickly and fastly and bigly, and will be doing so for the foreseeable future. So yeah, if you want to leave the United States, get your paperwork done now, and the borders are still open and traveling is still free for the most part between those countries. Right now, if you're in the United States, you can come and stay in Canada for about 6 months, with like next to no questions asked. So, like, come now, scope the place out, see if you like it, or see if you want to go someplace else, and talk to an immigration lawyer. There's usually immigration lawyers in any city of any sizable amount, especially if there's a university in that city. So there's also that. Also, if you're interested, you could also apply to school. That's one of the ways to go from one country to another. You could consider doing that as well.
To being the architect of global free trade, which the United States is no longer willing to do. And not only that, but the idea of a well-regulated free market, increasingly people looking at the US and saying this is a country that supports kleptocracy. This is a country that supports state corruption. And that the best way to cut a deal is to make sure that you're paying off the right people that are close to the administration.
So you're talking, I mean, now you're getting into, I mean, just looking at the self-dealing, looking at.
That's part of it. Yeah, and that's one thing.
Sort of what someone called the crony capitalism.
Yeah.
They're sort of almost.
A couple days ago, I told you guys that I needed to talk to you guys about Jean Chrétien, who was one of the prime ministers of Canada. He was a prime minister for 10 years, I believe until 2010, if I'm remembering correctly. I might be wrong about the year, so look, I gotta go through the Wikipedia about him with you guys, but one of the things that he did was do some reforms to the election process and how much money was allowed to be in and how that money was like sorted and organized and what that looked like. It was one of Jean Chrétien did a lot. Like he did a lot during his time in office. He's also relatively well liked and well remembered if I've read the room correctly.
Pay to play.
Again, I hear this from so many leaders.
Yeah.
I hear from so many CEOs inside the United States who are global CEOs.
Yeah. No, and I mean, I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, I did a Patriot site where I literally am selling knee pads, Trump signature series knee pads.
You
for
said
CEOs.
they sold. I think you said they sold out.
They sold out. Yeah. No, and yeah, I could. Well, there are plenty of reasons why they've sold out because there's so many examples of law firms and universities and media companies, not least of which some of my friends and CEOs that have sold out in that spirit. But they're selling out what makes this, to your point, a reputation of this country. They're selling out what makes the United States so central and so important. And I couldn't agree with you more. But it's interesting from your perspective, though. You started with free trade. You talked about sort of just the global leadership that this country has advanced in terms of building alliances and building that framework.
Collective security. And NATO is still there, and arguably NATO is stronger than it was before because it's expanded a couple Nordic countries and the countries are spending more. But the belief that the United States would actually stand for.
But you just said all of the other countries that you've aligned with have gotten weaker, and now you're saying, but NATO's gotten stronger? So the countries as individuals have all gotten weaker, but we've added more countries and everybody's paying more money. So does that not balance it out? Which would mean, in the best case scenario, if it's balanced out, does that not mean that the US doesn't need to go around punching everybody in the fucking head? I feel like we're getting talk out of both sides of our mouth here.
Collective security.
Yeah.
If a country was invaded, that's deteriorated significantly. And,
yeah, nobody believes that you would be helpful, let alone like that you would be willing to help, because those are two different things. In a lot of scenarios, people don't even think the United States would be fucking useful. It's just like, guys, you suck at this. We don't want you here. You're getting in the way. Stop getting out of the way. Just send us gear. Stay over there. We don't need you. We'll take care of it ourselves. Just send us gear. Give us money. We don't care about your fucking anything. Just give us money. Taiwan probably feels a little differently about that. Actually, for anybody who doesn't know, the United States is sort of like, I don't want to say pulling out. I think that might be the wrong word. But the majority of everything that happens in South Korea on the South Korean northern border is being handed over to be handled by South Korea. And I think that the United States is still like tangentially there, but they're letting go of the reins and letting South Korea, do its thing. So that's cool and neat. That's great. As long as South Korea is capable and wants to do it and is probably telling the United States to fucking go away. You know what I mean?
That belief in American reliability is core to collective security. So you undermine that foreign aid. the United States has historically provided more foreign aid than any other country in the world, still providing a lot of support to Israel and to Egypt, but around the world, they're shutting it down. And the United Nations.
Do you really want to talk about the USAID? We've talked about it before. Do I need to pull up the USAID numbers? The estimated number of people died? I've got it. I got it right here. Tracking anticipated deaths from USAID funding cuts. Launched an online tracking tool that captures estimated increase in mortality and disease spread for HIV and AIDS, tuberculosis, malaria, and other diseases as a result of the near total freeze in U.S. foreign aid funding and programming. All tracked programs. Death caused by funding discontinuation: 124,377 adults, 258,673 children. So feel free to look this up yourself and do your own checking out and finding out what's going on with that. But there you go. Do we also need to talk about do we really need to talk about the elephant in the room of the United States sending stuff to Israel while Israel's doing a genocide, and then other countries being like, hey, don't, and then the United States being the country that said we're gonna veto the ceasefire vote in NATO? And then do we also need to talk about that when France and the UK and Canada all signed on to hey, Israel, stop doing a fucking genocide? A bunch of fucking US senators sent a letter, I don't even know if they were all senators. A bunch of fucking United States political people were like, don't! Of course Canada went, fucking who are you? And then also, do we need to talk about the shift in the way a lot of countries have been talking about the genocide in Palestine being done by Israel? Do we need to talk about that the United States isn't one of the countries that has signed on to Netanyahu is a war criminal, and if he lands here, we're going to arrest him? Okay. All right. This is even without talking about budget numbers and how much money and how much missiles or whatever the fuck is being sent to Israel.
Was created by the United States.
Yeah, right here in San Francisco.
Right here in San Francisco, and the UN Charter reflects.
Wait a second. Hold on.
Shutting it down. And the United Nations was created by the United States.
Yeah, right.
I'm gonna citation needed that. United Nations. Hold on. I'm looking at pulling up the Wikipedia. I wanted to see if everybody else thinks it was created by the United States, because I feel like this is one of those things that's like, I don't know about that. Hi, Christy. United Nations is a global intergovernmental organization established by the signing of the UN Charter on June 26, 1945, with the articulated mission of maintaining international peace and security, to develop friendly relations among states, to promote international cooperation, and to serve as the center for harmonizing the actions of states in achieving those goals. The United Nations headquarters is located in New York City, with several other offices located in Geneva, Nairobi, Vienna, the whatever. The UN comprises 6 principal organizations: the General Assembly, the Security Council, the Economic and Social Council, the International Court of Justice, the Secretariat, and the Trusteeship Council, which together with several specialized agencies and related agencies make up the United Nations system. There are a total of 139 member states, representing nearly all of the world's sovereign states, as well as 2 observer states, the Holy See and Palestine. Oh, Palestine. You don't say. The United Nations have primarily focused on economic and social development, particularly during a wave of decolonization of the mid-20th century. The UN currently operates 11 peacekeeping missions by order of interception in the Middle East, Kashmir, Cyprus, Golan Heights, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, Lebanon, the Western Sahara, Kosovo, Democratic Republic of Congo, Sudan, South Sudan, and Central African Republic. The UN can be recognized as a leader of peace and the human development, with many officers and agencies having been awarded with the Nobel Peace Prize, but also been criticized for perceived ineffectiveness, bias, and corruption. Okay. In the century prior to the UN's creation, several international nations, such as the International Committee of the Red Cross, were formed to ensure protection and assistance for victims of armed warfare during World War I, blah, 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 especially U.S., blah, 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 blah. Really, this is all very, very interesting, but this does not seem to say, oh, here's the founding. Okay, by the 1st of March, 1945, 21 additional states has signed the Declaration of Unity. After months of planning, the UN Conference of International Organization opened in San Francisco on 25th April 1945 and was attended by 50 nation governments and a number of non-governmental organizations. The delegations of the Big Four chaired the plenary meeting. Previously, Churchill had urged Roosevelt to restore France to its status as a major power after the liberation of Paris in August 1944. The drafting of the Charter of the United Nations was completed over the following 2 months and was signed on 26th of June 1945, representative of 50 countries. The UN officially came into existence at 2007 UTC on the 24th of October 1945, upon ratification of the Charter by 5 permanent members of the Security Council, the United States, the United Kingdoms, France, and the Soviet Union, and China, and by a majority of 46 other countries. I'm having a hard time looking at this and saying America invented the UN. The first step towards establishment of the UN was the Inter-Allied Conference in London that led to the Declaration of St. James Palace on the 12th of June 1941. By August 1941, American President Franklin Roosevelt and British Prime Minister Winston Churchill had drafted the Atlantic Charter, which defined goals for the post-war world. At the subsequent meeting, Inter-Allied Council in London on the 24th of September 1941, the 8 governments in exiled countries under Axis occupation, together with the Soviet Union and representatives of free French forces, unanimously adopted adherence to the common principles of policy set forth by Britain and the United States. Yeah, so the United States didn't invent the fucking UN, my guy. Good fucking God. I'm gonna listen to it again just in case I got it wrong.
The United States has historically provided more foreign aid than any other country in the world. Still.
Actually, I'm kind of curious if that's true. It wouldn't surprise me if it was, but these guys have been so, like, loosey-goosey with what America has and hasn't done that I'm not willing to just take him on his word, but I'm not going to look it up right now.
Providing a lot of support to Israel and to Egypt, but around the world, they're shutting it down. And the United Nations was created by the United States.
Yeah. The United Nations was something that was agreed upon by roughly 50 individual sovereign states, not the United States. You're welcome. This is also as of, like, World War II. I didn't even look at the fucking background pre-41. Paris peace and the United Kingdom, France, Italy, and Japan. The United States wasn't even fucking invented yet. That's not true. I'm just being a dick. It began with 4 permanent members: the United Kingdoms, France, Italy, and Japan. So it wasn't even the United States included in what would be considered like the precursor, or like the preamble, the thing we started it, the initial, like, several major leaders, especially U.S. President Woodrow Wilson, advocated for a world body to guarantee peace. The winner of the wars, the Allies, met to decide on formal peace terms at Paris Peace Conference, which was dominated by the leaders of Britain, France, the United States, and Italy, and probably some more. The League of Nations was approved and started operations, but the United States never joined. What? On the 10th of January 1920, the League of Nations formally came into being when the Covenant of the League of Nations, ratified by 42 nations in 1919, took effect. Okay, who was in this? I need to know who was in this. Who are you? Blah 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 blah. Paris Conference. There should be a list of 10, right? Or sorry, a list of however many. Where's the list? Who was in it? Secured the proposal for the Republican states. Article 10 was the most blah 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 blah. U.S. blah 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 blah. Let the fight in the U.S. Senate against the ratification, believing it was best not to become involved in international conflicts. Under the United States Constitution, the President of the United States may not ratify a treaty unless the Senate by 2/3, blah, blah, blah. A statement from Wilson, blah, blah, blah. Article 10, blah, 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 blah. War clause, blah, 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 blah. 16, during the invasion of Ethiopia by Italy under Mussolini, Article 16 was invoked, blah, 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 blah. The Axis powers are created, blah, 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 blah. Is there just not a list of like who the fuck signed on to this? Oh, here we go. Paris Peace Conference. Treaties. Subsequent treaties of Hungary. Argentina. Okay, so I think this might be the list. Anyway. Fucking the United States wasn't even fucking part of the precursor. They posited it and then didn't join it. Just kind of like the way they were like, hey, let's everybody use metric. Never mind. Everybody else use metric. We're going to stay with imperial because... Whatever. All right. Moving on.
Right here in San Francisco.
Right here in San Francisco, and the UN Charter reflected American values. And it's something I'm really proud of.
Yeah.
Did it? Did the charter reflect American values? I don't think so. I think it might, maybe the UN Charter, right? Charter of United Nations, maybe it reflects what America wants to be or what America should be or is working towards, but reflects what American values are? I'm not sure about that. I'm standing by, I think the people in the United States were sold some bullshit. Let's see. Foundational Treaty of the United Nations establishes the purpose and governing structure of the overall framework of the United Nations system, including principal organs. General Assembly, blah, 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 blah. The UN Charter mandates the United Nations and its member states to maintain international peace and security, uphold international law. Oh, really? Really? Like arresting somebody like Benjamin Netanyahu? Like somebody who's been deemed by the court as somebody who needs to be dragged into fucking court? Like that? Like that? Upholding that? Achieve higher standards of living for citizens. Are we sure this upholds American values? Are we sure? Address economic, social, health, and related problems and promote universal respect for and observance of human rights and fundamental freedoms for all without distinction to race, sex, language, or religion. All right, chat. One in the chat if you think that is American values as they are presented. Because I don't think so. I don't think that's the way the United States behaves at all, in the slightest. It might be something that America ought to or did at some point want to achieve, but America has values, ? Oofed. Yeah, it's got values. Big number is big. More big number, please, is very American values. Let's see, the Charter, 1945, ratified by 5 permanent members, the United States, China, France, the Soviet Union, and the United Kingdoms. Guys, no, this is the problem. You're the problem, Ian, you're the problem. You're an intellectual. You're somebody who people like look up to know what you're talking about and give people information. And then you talk about joint efforts as if they are solely based around the United States and wouldn't exist if the United States did not participate or, be the driving force, which is inherently not true. That is an untrue statement. This is this fucking American exceptionalism. This is like that the United States is the center of the universe and there is no anything else outside of the United States. It's fucking goddamn annoying. It's fucking goddamn annoying, man. And it's bullshit. It's just bullshit.
And I think part of the reason that we don't support the UN right now is because we look at what the UN stands for and we feel a little shame that it's not what America stands for anymore today. And we don't
Tell me what the difference is. What does the UN stand for right now that the United States doesn't stand for now? Because I listed that out, and that was you should feel ashamed because you're disagreeing with the things that the UN should like. List them, coward. You're not gonna. You're just gonna say that. You're just gonna say that, and you're not gonna describe, not arresting Benjamin Netanyahu. God, fucking diplomacy. What part of it are you ashamed of? Or what are you suggesting the UN is doing or not doing that it should be doing that is more in line with American values? That would be useful. That would at least be saying fucking something. Fuck, dude. God, this man is annoying.
like that. We don't like something that we created making us look, some reflective on ourselves. But
you mean you look bad because you're being a dick to everybody? That's your fault. That's not the UN's fault. Yeah, no, man, we really don't like that this group of all these other nations that we helped create and we're part of creating are doing the things that we believe our values are while we're not doing those things. It makes us feel icky. God.
I think all of these things, from the perspective of other countries around
They disagree with us, so we don't like them anymore. We're gonna take our ball and go home.
world that really do need rule of law. They really do need collective security. They do need US-led multilateral trade, because otherwise they don't have the ability to operate in a.
So that's why we're punching them in the head repeatedly. Like who? Like who and in what way? Whomst doth the bell toll? God.
Global system that is a law of the jungle. They just don't. They don't have the ability to operate and succeed under rule of dawn. They need rule of law.
But why do we need the United States to do it? Why can't the group that is like, for example, the fucking coalition of the willing, right? Everybody that's coming together to support Ukraine. That excludes the United States, by the way. The United States didn't sign on to that. The United States isn't part of that group. And Ukraine is succeeding. Gin and tea suddenly doesn't sound so bad. Oh, I know, right? Oh, no. We're taking your ball and going home. Oh, okay. You know what? I accept that correction. It's called the American dream because you have to be asleep to believe it. Man, George Carlin was a treasure. The US government doesn't have values. They value money, power, and the power to get more money and power. Yeah, fair enough. I'm not asking like what individual Americans believe, because I think you get quite a bit of a spattering. I'm talking about like the United States as like a whole and the United States as it operates on the global stage.
And
I think that's a serious problem.
Well, you talk about apex predators, or this notion of this sort of T-Rex presidency, where the guy either devours you or he mates with you, one or the other. You have that option.
That's very visual.
It is visual, forgive me, but I mean this notion of the rule of the jungle, and the rule of...
Yeah, it's the strong. The strong are the ones in power. It's a Russian ideal. It's been an ideal in China for a very long time. I don't know about North Korea for sure, but definitely Russia and China. And this is one of the problems that Russia is facing, and one of the problems that the United States is inevitably going to face, if it's not facing it already, is that not only does one, that not work, but two, you end up falling on your face and embarrassing yourself. That's what Russia has been doing. Russia has been falling on its face and fucking embarrassing itself. 3-day war, my fucking ass. Look at Trump's tariffs. Trump's tariffs are fucking the United States embarrassing itself on the world. Donald Trump is the United States embarrassing itself on the world stage over and over and over and over and over again. And it's only February of 2026. We've still got the rest of this year and 2 more years to go, motherfuckers. Like, buckle up, bro. We're going to be here for a little while. And that's like, who the fuck knows what's going to come afterward? We don't fucking know. We don't even know what that fuck's... Right now, it's a coin flip about what the fuck's going to happen in the midterms. But, like, clearly, the only country that's managed to succeed, or is currently, I should say, succeeding at this right now is China. But China right now is willing to, what's the word I'm looking for? Not consolidate. Compromise. They're willing to compromise. And so if they're willing to compromise and change that around, keep in mind that it wasn't that long ago that there were riots in Hong Kong. Like, massive protests and massive riots, right? So it's also not it's not clear that China's 10 to 15 to 20 years from now is going to look the same as China now. Keep in mind that China as one nation is also relatively young compared to some other countries, or on like a time scale. So like China being made up of like a bunch of smaller things is okay. Midterm coin flip. When I say that the midterms are going to be a coin flip, I mean that we don't really know how anything is going to go. We don't really know what the elections are even going to look like, from like whether or not there's going to be ICE showing up to intimidate people in specific areas, how they're going to fuck around with the whether or not the election is stolen or fake or whatever, or if there's cheating that goes on, or if Elon Musk offers people a bunch of fucking money to vote a specific way. There is fuckery afoot. I'll put it that way. So we don't really know what direction it's going to go in, or let alone how long it's going to take to like be like, hey, look, it's done. Here's all the counts. Oh, we need a recount. Oh, we need this. Oh, we need that. And like for things to be legal. Like, what was that one Democrat? Was it a judge? I don't know, there was a Democrat that got elected, and it's taken like 2 or 3 years for her to actually be allowed to have her seat, right? So like stuff like that. Legal fucking barriers to, or hoops to jump through, things like that's what I mean.
Dawn, and I've used your phrase, and I hope it is dawning on people how real and serious.
Yes, I really do enjoy Some More News. If you haven't watched Some More News, definitely shout them out. They're great.
That is, and it's exampled here in California. We're on the receiving end of so much of this disproportionately, but increasingly, I hope people are growing more and more conscious of this. But I want to just close on, mindful of time, on 2 things that we haven't brought up. This issue of AI seems also that we're ceding global leadership on AI and AI standards. California has led this country in terms of at least addressing frontier model regulation. There's some legislation in New York right now that potentially can mirror aspects of what we have done here in our state. We take the issue very seriously as the birthplace and obviously the center of the universe in terms of AI. But you...
American language is so fucking bizarre. Like you don't really know, you don't really notice until you start thinking, like until you start paying attention, how often people in the United States center themselves in everything until you start listening for it. Like, it's a lot. It's often. It's almost always. Almost always. And I don't mean to say that he's wrong. I'm just talking about his phrasing. Like, the rhetoric is the center of the universe. The United States is the center of the universe in terms of AI. And it's like, that's such a... other places don't describe things that way. It's so strange. But like, I don't know. I don't know. Fucking AI is a giant pain in the ass. It has its uses. And it has, but maybe if you want to see me talking about AI and AI art and AI, like other types of AI, go find other videos. I've talked about it before.
You mentioned China in relationship to AI. What does AI mean from your perspective when we look at geopolitically and risks, rewards, opportunities, challenges in the next 2-3 years? Superintelligence, national security.
Can we stop pretending AI is artificial intelligence? AI is machine learning. Thank you. It's called artificial intelligence as a marketing scheme.
Trust. What do you make of AI?
I mean, I'm not worried particularly about super intelligence. I think that I'm much more worried about what human beings that control and program the algorithms are doing with them. If they are bad actors, if they're indifferent, if they're just focused on short-term fiduciary responsibility as opposed to well-being long-term, and if they're not really capitalists. Because really capitalists...
What? What the fuck? Of course they have to be capitalists. Of course they have to be capitalists.
To well-being long-term, and if they're not really capitalists. Because really capitalists care about not just profits, but also losses. They're capitalists also when they experience losses. And yet a lot of the people that are driving AI do not account for the losses in society, do not account for the losses in the economy that come from damage.
Yeah, because they only care about the losses for the company. And they only really care about the monetary losses, the bottom line of the company, not the health and overall health of their workers. What? Tom in the chat said, "Get out of here, commies." Yeah, I know, right? Oh my god. Lord Magicka says, AI, I think, is fundamentally incompatible with capitalism, and that is particularly why it's so dangerous to America in particular. Really? I'd be curious to know a little bit more about why you think that. The center of the data centers. Who is this guy? This is Ian Bremmer. He is a global economist. That's like his shtick. That's what he does. I guess he's part of some group that he made that does stuff in the global sphere. He's also an asshole who fucking sucks. And he's basically doing Trump apologetics in this, which is insane. Also, hi, Kip. Good to see you. Thanks for coming by.
From product damages that come from rolling these things out. So I think we need more capitalism among the AI folks in that regard.
It's interesting.
But
I think he's I think he's wrong, and I think this guy's a fucking idiot. Like, what do you fucking mean? What can I get a citation on the people running these fucking technologia? These tech giants aren't capitalists? That you think that the people running Palantir aren't fucking capitalists? Like, what the fuck are you even talking about? Unfucking believable. Like, can you please define any of these things? That'd be great. This is useless. This is prattling nonsense. Lord Magicus expounded, the entire system is set up to value labor in a system when only capital has value. What exactly is the labor expected to do? Die? Oh, you mean for, like, data scraping? Yeah. Your power's out. Oh boy. Well, I hope you guys are all okay over there.
But I am enormous enthusiast about this technology. I mean, you're just down there in Brazil.
Oh yeah, of course you are.
And you saw Bill Gates saying he's focused less on climate change.
Oh, Bill Gates? You mean the guy in the Epstein files? That guy? That Bill Gates? We talk about the same Bill Gates? Oh, Bill Gates, the guy who, like, did a whole ton of killing of technological advancement by wanting to patent and make it illegal to fucking reverse engineer his shit so he could be really, really, really rich? That Bill Gates? Is that the Bill Gates we're talking about? Free market, right? Free market capitalist? None of the capitalists are free market capitalists. They're not. It's not a free market. The United States is crazy. They don't know what they're talking about.
Not because he doesn't care, not because he doesn't believe the science, he certainly does, but because he thinks that what happens in AI is going to be more impactful in the near term to determine all these things. I buy that.
You do buy that.
I do. Yeah. I think that we can exceed sustainable development goals that we've been failing.
Orange says that part of the file was not out in November, though. No. They might not have known about Bill Gates's... These guys may not have known about Bill Gates's association with Epstein. Bill Gates's alleged whatever with Epstein, connection to Epstein. However, it does help describe who Bill Gates is, which is what I was going for, not going for them being cool with a guy that is a thing. That's a different thing.
To meet in terms of poverty, in terms of availability of food and water, in terms of shelter, in terms of efficiency of the transfer of resources. So much of the world is so wealthy, and yet we waste so much. It's so inefficient.
How do you think AI and machine learning is going to help with that? I mean, theoretically, I guess it could, because you could get the data and it would be able to process the data incredibly quickly. So you could be like, okay, but what if we do this? And the algorithm could run utilizing the AI to then tell you where to put this and where to put that, and where there's inefficiencies here and where there's inefficiencies there. You could also do the same thing with a fucking marker and a chalkboard. Maybe don't use a marker on a chalkboard. Maybe use chalk on a chalkboard. A marker and a whiteboard. Whatever. Right? You know what I mean? Like, you could do that. It might take longer, but you could do... There are things we could do now that we're not doing. So what makes you think that the invention of AI and introducing AI as a variable into the system means that we're suddenly going to do it? A lot of these things that he's talking about are problems we can solve without the use of AI. But we're still not solving them. Because we don't want to. Because we're greedy capitalists. Because we're run by greedy capitalists. Especially since we're talking about the United States in particular, which is so rich and has so many people in its own country, not even including the work that they do, some good, some bad, in other countries from a global standpoint. Just in their own country, people dying and starving and being homeless. Canada has this problem too. We've done some things to address it. We were testing UBI, Universal Basic Income. We were testing UBI and it was successful. So we haven't rolled it out yet, but we've done some testing with it. We have 1 or 2 full cities that have eliminated homelessness by, making houses for people to have. So, like, these are things that you can work towards, and things that probably should get more attention than they do. But regardless, like, these are problems. But we can address them, and we don't need AI to do it. In fact, I would posit, that game that they put out on phones for people that was like a carbon connecting game or something like that? And they ended up solving like a shitload of fucking connections. Because it was just a lot of people playing this fucking game, and it was fucking worked great. You could do the same thing with resources. We need to expand nuclear power. Yes, as far as I know, in Ontario, that's the province that I'm in Ontario, we are opening 7 new small reactors and 1 new big reactor, I think. Now, it's going to take like a decade to get all of it done, but, it takes time. We might end up doing it a little bit faster because we see currently Canada seems to be like fucking pedal to the metal like fucking go seems to be what we're doing. So we might get it done in 5 years maybe, but we'll see. But like these are things that we can do, right?
AI can fix that, but we need to make sure that everyone has access to it. It needs to be invested in and not just be a tool that's available for a tiny percentage of really rich people, and everybody else loses their job or everybody else doesn't have access to it. And that.
Okay, so what about capitalism is going to ensure that that happens? Because I think it's nothing. I think particularly if you're talking about the unregulated, unfettered capitalism for you, socialism for companies, the way, and like not a free market at all, the United States is like, should see what China is doing with renewables. Yeah, no, absolutely. China has a lot going for it right now when it comes to like what China has done to reduce its carbon emissions. It's done a lot, and that's one of the things that I'm hoping that we're going to get out of our deals with China and our willingness, and China's willingness to work with us, is that we're going to be able to implement some of technology, which is really good technology.
Requires governance. That requires like not just companies to be in charge of the regulations, because companies ultimately aren't accountable to citizens. It means that like the states, the cities, the countries, and even in some cases the world needs to take some responsibility. And Americans, Chinese are really enthusiastic about what AI is going to do. Americans are scared.
Yeah.
And the reason they're scared is because the US, they don't believe in their leaders to take care of them. Americans should be the ones the most excited about the technology, right? I mean, this is a frontier economy, right? We started so much of bringing new technology and making this country incredible on the back of that, and then exporting it all over the world. And now we have the most transformative technology that humankind has ever come close to creating. And you're telling me that
I'm gonna need a citation on that. I don't think that's true. I think that's just like his opinion, man. I don't know. I think microwaves are a pretty big deal. I don't know about that. I think backpacks, pretty big deal. I'm pretty sure backpacks, baskets, pretty big. The wheel, also pretty big deal. There is something that I enjoyed learning when I was doing some of my Harvard courses. One of the things that I learned that I just kind of accepted was that like everything that human beings have ever made is just rocks and sticks. And it's just more advanced rocks and sticks. And we just throw trial and error at things. I mean, maybe that's something that AI can do. Maybe AI can do a lot of trial and error for us, so we don't have to throw as much human suffering at our trial and error as we tend to do. So, like, maybe that'll help, because the machine learning will be able to do some of the trial and be like, well, that didn't work, try this. Well, that didn't work, try this. Well, that didn't work, try this. I mean, that'd be cool. I'm fine with that. I don't think that's a problem, but that shouldn't doing something like that shouldn't lose anybody their job. It should just be a tool that scientists are utilizing to make their jobs easier and happen faster, as opposed to the slog that it can be when you're doing science. But again, it's being applied to things that I just don't think it should and ought to be applied to. Like art, for example. Dr. Kip says, my Chinese sister-in-law reminds me all of the time just how much better China is than Canada. Oh, really? Is China better than Canada in every regard? I'm not sure about that. I don't know if I'd buy that. There are some really cool things about China, though. Oh, and you can travel to China now. If you're a Canadian with a Canadian passport, you can travel to China without a green card. Without a visa. Hooray! I don't know if I'm allowed to, but if you don't have something in your history that says fuck the Chinese government, like I do, then you're probably fine.
Americans are scared of it. That is a governance issue.
It's interesting. Unpacking that, at the core, this notion of truth and trust, governance is that's compelling.
Yeah, I think he's probably right about that. The American people don't trust their government has been a thing for quite a while, and part of that is the fucking monopolization of media and, like, unfettered capitalism, blah, blah, blah.
What is less compelling to me, but seems more compelling than any other issue in America today, is an issue you just did a video on, and that is this damn Epstein thing. What is?
It's amazing that this is like
it is just completely captured everyone's attention. You presented your point of view, and you wrote about and did a video saying, Trump has literally, he could not have scripted a more ineffective response, and in every way just flubbing all. I mean, what does the Epstein files represent to you? What does it mean? I'm just curious. What is it? What is our fascination? Why is this? Besides just the atrocities that occurred and the victims, beyond that, and God bless on that, what is it about the Epstein files that has captured so much imagination and attention?
We talked about kleptocracy. We talk about the capturing.
The government trying to hide it. And Donald Trump saying he would put it out and then not putting it out. It's not that complicated. In fact, I would probably say the majority of people only tertiarily care about the actual victims as individuals. And most of it has to do with the exposure the exposure of a massive fucking conspiracy that spans parts of, like, that spans the globe of global leaders and people of import, whether they be political or science or tech based or otherwise. It's a giant fucking conspiracy theory. People have been obsessed with the Illuminati for fucking ever. Like, it's not really that complicated. It also, like, doesn't help that specifically the reason why people care about it in America so much is because it's literally the thing that Donald Trump said he was going to expose and get everybody for. But it turns out it was all him and his friends. If it makes anybody fucking feel any better, and it shouldn't, one guy being dead a handful of years ago did not stop that sex trafficking ring. That sex trafficking ring for a bunch of people in power, some of which who are in more power than they were at the time, i.e. a la Donald Trump. It's probably happening more. It's probably got them, like, what are you talking about? What do you mean? Ah! You think that because Epstein is dead, that the sex trafficking ring has been taken care of and it's not happening anymore and it's been dealt with? You're fucking wrong. You're fucking absolutely fucking wrong, and people should probably care about that part a little bit more.
Of the American political system by people with power, we talk about rule of law and the two-tier system of justice. I think that what Epstein represents to Americans are these assholes can get away with anything.
Well,
yeah, it's validation of something that everybody already thought in the first place.
My mother used to read the Inquirer every weekend. Right? She didn't have a high school education, and she wasn't on top of all the global issues, but she knew in her heart that these people with a lot of money and a lot of power in the United States weren't going to take care of her and her kids. Didn't trust them.
Yeah.
And, this is before algorithms. This is before the blogosphere. This is before cable news.
Yeah, you don't need AI to fucking figure that out. Thanks, Sherlock.
Nonetheless, and I think that what we see today with the Epstein files, after decades of Americans, wealthy Americans, just not taking enough care of their fellow citizens. And the wealthiest people in the world right now.
You mean the capitalists aren't doing the capitalist thing that you said capitalists should be doing? Caring about losses? You're fucking lost in the sauce, my guy. This guy seems like he's kind of close to it, and then he just swerves away for fucking no goddamn reason. Like, contextually is just all over the place.
Americans, how much do they actually care? Do they feel responsibility and accountability for their fellow citizens? Never mind the rest of the people on the planet.
No, there is a massive issue in the United States where people don't care about their neighbors. There's this individualistic ideology in the United States where you are an individual and you've got to pull yourself up by your bootstraps and you're responsible for everything related to you and have no responsibility and want no responsibility to do and want to have any responsibility anywhere else. So, like, what the fuck do you mean? What the fuck do you mean? I would love to visit China because I think China is very, very interesting and I'd love to go and see it. I won't be going to see it anytime soon, not until there's some kind of government structural changeover that happens. So maybe I won't get to in my lifetime. I would love to see it, but I feel like I'd get in trouble if I went there. Unless I was popular enough that I thought I could get away with it, but I'm not Hassan Piker, you know what I mean?
I would kind of like if they'd pay attention to that too, but just their fellow citizens. I mean, Bill Gates is revered around the world for a lot of what he has done. Elon, not so much. Bezos, not so much. And I think that's
think that's an understatement. And I think that part of that has to do with people not being educated on some of the very important things that are problematic that Bill Gates has done. Mostly because some of those things have to do with legislation and are boring. Let alone, like, expecting people in the United States to know what the fuck goes on in their own country. Like, Americans notoriously don't know what the fuck is going on in their own fucking ridings or in their own fucking, like, just local area, let alone what's happening in their state, let alone what's happening in their fucking... Go in a Winnie the Pooh suit. That would be very funny. That would be very, very funny. My Unfinished Sock says, don't sweep the Epstein files under the rug. Like and share the stream instead. Thank you very much. Liking, sharing, leave me a comment. Greatly appreciated. Help this channel grow. I would actually really appreciate your assistance in that. Please, thank you very much. Subscribe.
Failure of the American political system, and we see it playing out in the Epstein files right now. And yeah, there's also algorithmically people focusing on one side or the other, and Trump has flipped so much on this. But people understand that the core, something is rotten.
It's
right?
Cathartic. This isn't complicated.
At the core of this venture, and it's part of the reason why people think that no matter who they vote for, they can't fix this. They can't resolve this. And I think it's not going away.
Yeah, and I think you're part of the problem. You want to know why I think you're part of the problem? Because you keep flip-flopping. You're trying to fucking be like, oh yeah, no, there's this problem of corruption that's like around Trump and blah, 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 and people are getting validated by blah, 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 and then you sit around and you try to whitewash the shit that Donald Trump is doing on the global scale and try and pretend that he's got some fucking long-term goal of punching your allies in their fucking heads all the time. What the fuck are you talking about? You're part of the problem, framing the AFD as if they're not fucking neo-Nazis. Like, brother, come the fuck on. Trying to pretend like it's fucking like, oh, it's the UN's fault. The UN is the problem. Yo. Okay.
I can't close on that, so I want to ask you, give me why we should be optimistic in the next 5 to 10 years. What gives you optimism? I mean, you mentioned...
You know what else is a really big problem in the United States? Media literacy. Media literacy is a massive fucking problem. Media literacy is basically fucking all but dead. Fucking holy shit, dude. I don't fuck... Dead. Onion rings. You have people who are operating under a social system that requires you to be able to fucking read, and and you're using social things that almost require you to read, and people won't fucking read. What is the AFD? The AFD is a political group, what was a political group in Germany that got fucking shut down because, it's illegal to be a Nazi in Germany. I believe the leader of the AFD got fucking arrested, or charged, if I remember correctly. I'm trying to think. Elon did a talk with them, and so did, I believe, Kristi Noem, supporting them directly.
AI should give us more optimism than pessimism. But what aspects of some of these global trend lines that we opened up with give you more confidence and distill you with a bigger sense of well-being than perhaps most of us are aware or should of?
Look, young people are more global. They're online a lot, yeah, but they're also skeptical of what they're being fed in a healthy way. And their friends, when I was growing up, my friends were playing stickball in the backyard. They all grew up within 3 blocks. There were some Irish, some Puerto Ricans, some Italians. They don't want nothing else. Kids today are, playing Fortnite on Twitch with kids from South Korea, and they're watching K-pop and everything else.
We're with politicians on Fortnite Friday.
Oh, were you?
Yeah. At TwitchCon as well, but keep going.
So
play Fortnite with a politician on Fortnite Friday. This is so deeply unserious. I wish the ADF... Oh, they weren't shut down, were they? Ah, that's too bad. My bad. Correction. They were not shut down. They're still around. They've been getting in trouble. We'll put it that way.
These kids, they're global. And you've done podcasts with some of them, right?
That's right.
So important.
Please tell me that Gavin Newsom... I'm not going to click on this and Gavin Newsom's going to have done a podcast with fucking Ninja. Okay.
They have far more opportunities to connect with their fellow human beings. Why do they care more about climate than the 40, 50, 60, 70-year-olds? Because they're the ones that are actually inheriting that world.
Oh, you mean they care more about the thing that's going to affect them and how that's going to affect their future and the future? You mean people, boomers, are selfish and they don't care about the people that are coming after them? Whoa, shit, dude, I never, huh? Oops. Did you say that on purpose? I don't think you said that on purpose.
Why are they more skeptical of the U.S. political system? Because they see that the 70 and 80-year-olds that are running the Republican Democratic Party won't let go. Won't let go after well beyond they should. And this is a huge Trump problem. This was a huge Biden problem. Of course, yeah. I mean, come on.
It's not a Trump or a Biden problem. It is a political problem in the United States that some people have been trying to do something about and some people haven't. This is term limits, what you're referring to right now. It's not some vague notion that you can't really put your finger on. It's fucking term limits, my guy. You just put term limits. If you don't want to put your term limits as an age thing and you make your term limits about length of time, that might solve like some of your contentions with it maybe. I don't fucking know. So you can be like, listen, I'm 70 and I'm really, really great and people want me to be there, so they're electing me at 70 and I can only be there for 15 years, assuming I don't die. But after 15 years, I gotta fucking go. I gotta fucking get out of here. But like, dude. It's not this fucking vague, we don't really know what to do. We know exactly what to do about it. And again, this is not a Trump thing. This isn't you don't have to go out of your way to be like, oh, especially a Biden thing. No, it wasn't. It fucking wasn't. It's it's fucking term limit issue.
People and I think the young people, okay, maybe they don't all believe that the way they're going to fix this is by voting, but they're going to do something. You know, they're not just going to sit, and demographically they're going to be in charge, and I hope they're going to be successful.
Ian Bremmer,
Successful in what?
Thank you for being on our podcast. I appreciate
Trying to make friends with all the allies that all you old people that, from your description, all of the old people fucked up? Is that what you're talking about? Oh my god. It's over. We did it. We got through it. Congratulations. Goodbye. Oh my fucking god. Is out of touch the word that I'm looking for? I don't think it is. Is blatantly dishonest and like fucking all over the place about not helpful. Not helpful. Not helpful at all. At least, at minimum. Fucking trash. Holy shit. Should we watch another Gavin Newsom interview with somebody else? Let me know. Let me know what you think. Also, we finished our poll. Let's end the poll. Poll ended. 64% said yes, you want to watch hockey with me, and 36 said no. That's okay. Hey, Christy, you changed your thing. Good job. Very well done. I recognized you by your picture when you came in. Okay, we did it. Congratulations. That sucked. It was in 3 parts. I'll put a mega version of this together later. Christy says that she is completely against Gavin Newsom becoming our next president, by the way. Yeah, I don't know who would be a good follow-up to Trump, to be honest. I'd love to hear your thoughts about who you think would be a good follow-up to Trump. Leave it in the comment section down below. Thanks for joining me. I'm gonna leave. I got another stream to do in less than an hour, so I need to fucking eat something because I am fucking hungry as shit. Fuck Ian Bremmer. He's an asshole. And also kind of fuck Gavin Newsom because he's literally the problem. Stop being all of the problem. Let's watch his 2007 lecture. Ian Bremmer's 2007 lecture. I'll consider it. Let me know down below. If you like art and stuff, I'll be live tomorrow doing art. It'll also be Dumbfuck Friday tomorrow. I'll be live doing that for Dumbfuck Friday late in the evening. That starts at 11 p.m. Eastern. As well as Star Trek over on Top Hats Off on Friday night. Also, I think I'm forgetting something. There's also probably something else happening, but I can't remember what it is. Thank you so much for joining me. Consider joining Debate Hub if you want to do debates and you want to do more, like, useful debates. Please go subscribe over there. It's Debate Hub Official. If you just search Debate Hub, it'll likely come up. It's the one that looks like a Pornhub logo. It's the one that's a riff on the Pornhub logo. It's fine. You'll find it. I believe in you. Thank you so much for joining. I'm going to get the fuck on out of here, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye bye.
I disagree infinitely about the way that was dumb, and I hate it. And I hate it. By the way, I hate it. I think it's dumb and I hate it. And I think that it's dumb and it's stupid.